I thought anyone could start it, but I've gone ahead and started that recording. Just to be on the safe side. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. I didn't see a notification, so I wanted to make sure we were recording before we got much further along. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being attentive to that. I know there's a lot going on here, especially on my end, so I'll make a note to myself to make sure that we check for that at the very beginning as well. Okay, so with that, we will move on to item number 4, which is public participation. And I'm just going to quickly read that off so that we are all aware. And if we have any members of the public, the board cannot act on items presented during the public participation portion of the agenda. Individual board members may ask questions of the public, but are prohibited by open meeting law from discussing or considering the item among themselves until the item is officially placed on the agenda. Each public comment or presentation will be limited to 5 minutes. So after reading that, do we have any members of the public who would like to address the board?
Madam Chair, I do not believe we do.
Okay, thank you for that. So we will proceed on to item number 5, the approval of the minutes from March 2022. I will open that up for any comments or any feedback, board, if you want to raise any items of concern to the board regarding the minutes. Okay, so Jared, is this an item that we need to vote on to approve the minutes?
It is. We do need to approve the minutes.
Okay, so with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for March 2022.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, the item has been motioned and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Okay, seeing that there are 4 voting for approval, there are no abstentions, and the chair, myself, will be abstaining from this vote. This item has been approved. The minutes from March 2022 have been approved. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 6, the city's regional plan presentation to the library board. A is a presentation by Jordan Hollinger.
And Mark Revis. So we're going to tag team on this one.
So hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having us here today. It is really good to be here. My name is Jordan Hollinger, Associate Planner with the City of Flagstaff, and the person there with their camera on is Mark Revis, and he's the Heritage Preservation Officer and Neighborhood Planner for the city as well. So we are here to talk to you today about the Flagstaff Regional Plan and process that we are currently going through to update that plan. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just make sure everyone can see that okay. Everyone can see that
Yeah, that looks
title
good.
slide there?
Yes.
Great, perfect. And to start with, Mark is going to take it away. So go ahead, Mark.
Next slide, please. So today's presentation, we're going to try to fill you in on what the regional plan is and what exactly is the regional plan. What is a regional plan, as in City of Flagstaff and the surrounding region? How does this regional plan impact and relate to the library? What is being done to update the regional plan? And we are going to seek collaboration and input from the library as we move forward. Next, please. So the regional plan is on top of this process. It's the basis for all other planning. So the regional plan covers multiple aspects, and then as you bring it down into the specific plans, whether they're with parks and recreation or transportation or public facilities or neighborhood specific plans, those all come from the basis of the regional plan. And then ultimately implementation of those plans is the bottom of this graphic. Next, please. So it's a regional plan because it is city and it is an area surrounding Flagstaff in the county, in Coconino County. For the city, it serves as a general plan. It is ratified by voters every 10 years, and it supports land use decisions. So policy making, 100-year water supply designation, transportation planning, and many other efforts. In Coconino County, it's an amendment to the county's comprehensive plan. It's adopted by the Board of Supervisors versus a vote, and it provides a map of areas to be looked at and planned for. In their case, here is our region. So you can see to the north, sort of Sunset Crater, to the west, Camp Navajo. It's quite complex if you see all the different layers here, from zoning to activity centers. So there's a lot that goes into the regional planning effort. Next, please. So how is the plan used? It's for many purposes, but it's important to distinguish what the plan is and what it isn't. So specifically the regional plan, it's a collaborative community vision. It's a collection of goals and policies to achieve that vision. It's a tool in decision-making for developers, businesses, citizens, and it's a framework for general planning. The regional plan is not a mandate for or against development. It's not a zoning ordinance. It does not include capital improvement plans, city budget. So it is an adoptable, changeable plan, and it's not a law. Next, please. So what did the public want from the Regional Plan 2030? Hold the government accountable for policy-derived policy outcomes and goals, guide physical and economic development, establish priorities for public action. It gives a direction for complementary private decisions, and it encourages predictable decision-making. Next, please. So again, it's quite extensive. The current 2030 plan has 97 goals and 508 policies. It has generalized land use maps that clearly identify activity centers, and it's a basis for scenario planning. It's a robust basis for transportation modeling. Multimodal transportation is an emphasis, and of course, our water supply is a concern. Next, please. Did you want to take over from there, Jordan, or?
Sure, I can.
What slide are we on?
This is the one before we were going to
Oh,
transition.
okay,
but
I'll
that's
do
okay.
this one. Okay. Well, we've got the chapters that are currently covered are natural environment, built environment, so community character, growth, land use, transportation, and the human environment, something I'm involved in as far as neighborhood planning, housing, economic development, and even involved to a point in recreation. Next. There's the handoff.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mark. So yeah, that was a quick sort of overview of what the regional plan is, what it's not, kind of what's in the plan. And maybe some of you are sitting here and kind of wondering how that plan is related to the library. And to be honest, there's not a whole lot in the plan that is specific to the library. So one of the things that we wanted to bring to you today is kind of how we see the relationship between the regional plan and the library, because I think it's a little bit more robust than maybe it would initially seem. So we kind of have three general ways here that we sort of see that relationship. And the first is that the regional plan sets goals and policies that the library is certainly, at least from our perspective, in a good position to help achieve and implement. So within that, there are a lot of goals and policies that have to do with public outreach, education, public involvement. And those span sort of across all of those various domains that you saw in the last slide. A lot of different goals and policies kind of within each of those domains about public outreach and education. And then not quite as prominent, but still in there is workforce training around some of those elements as well. So that's kind of the first way that we see the library being related to the regional plan, is kind of that achieving and implementation of some of the goals and policies. The second, and maybe a little bit more tangible, is that the plan does potentially have an impact for funding allocation and decision making around funding. And so the two sort of ways that that could happen is that some city council members do reference the regional plan when it comes to capital funds. That could be an implication for the physical design and development of public facilities and services. And then it can also be referenced when making annual budget decisions as well. So that could have implications for library programming or potential new programming and that sort of thing. And then third, and probably the sort of fuzziest relationship that we've identified, is that, so at its core, the regional plan is really about guiding growth and development of our region, including the growth of our transportation system. So as we think through the future of our community and try to plan for that, the policies and goals that we create around growth and development, if we are intentional about it, can be supportive and increase accessibility to public service. Vice versa, if we're not so intentional about it, we might develop in a way where certain services, like accessibility to the library, might not be so well conceived. And then secondly, on this point, is that much like our transportation partners at Metroplan and Mountain Line, and our water services partners in the city's water services, use the regional plan to sort of understand where we're going or have a sense for where we're going, and make decisions for future planning needs and capacity needs. A lot of other organizations, I think even to the library, can take the regional plan and it can be a source of information and understanding about where we might be headed as a community and what kind of changes or new programs we might need to offer to meet future needs. So that's the third component, the third sort of relationship that we've identified there. So what I wanted to do is I'll run through these next few slides very quickly. But I wanted to sort of show you what this looks like in a summary format in terms of what's in the regional plan. So again, for public outreach, education, and involvement, we have goals and policies pretty much in every single topic area that the regional plan covers, from encouraging public awareness of our unique ecosystem to information about energy efficiency pilot programs. We have just sort of general goal policies around educating the public on what sustainable development looks like. Within the transportation section, we look at providing information about the health benefits of biking and walking and other non-motorized forms of transportation, as well as safety of those modes. So yeah, the public outreach education kind of touches on every topic in the regional plan. Then again, we do have some on workforce training. This is a little fuzzier in terms of, where the library might fit into some of these, but certainly the last one there within the economic development section, we do have a policy that seeks to expand opportunities and resources for lifelong learners. And I know, because I get the library's newsletter, that this is something you're already engaged in, that there you have so much in your programming, so many resources for the members of our community to be involved with, that's something you're already doing. The public facility design and development component really is about how are our public facilities and services using resources? What are they including as far as recreation and accessibility options within those? One of the interesting things that we had in the current regional plan was about leveraging new development to pay for a fair and proportional share of public facilities, services, and infrastructure. Of course, the more people we have here, the more public services that we need, or the larger the strain is on our existing public services. So we certainly don't have that a clear revenue stream from development to the library, but we do have it for something like fire, where we have impact fees that certain developments would trigger and would have to pay for. But that's something to think about as we move forward. And are we clear on how new development is impacting the public facilities and services that we currently have, such as the library? And then again, not much extra here on growth and development, but again, it's just trying to understand that connection between how we're growing and developing as a community and whether that's impacting the accessibility to our public facilities and services. So how are we going to go from our current regional plan and other supporting documents to the next regional plan? That's kind of where we're at. We are planning for the next regional plan at the moment, or starting that development process. So our intention is to go through the 4-year, the 4-phase development that you see on the screen here, this colorful graphic. We are currently in phase 1, which is really about getting curious and informing the public and our partners, such as yourselves, about the process and the plan. And it really involves getting familiar with what we know and what we're uncertain about. The big part of this phase so far has been that we have been doing public informational webinars. We have titled them snapshots every week, or most weeks. We've skipped some holidays and other weeks, but we're doing these informational webinars called snapshots every week, Monday at noon, on topics that the regional plan covers. And we're writing some papers on the same topics as well. So we've done about 20 of these informational webinars so far, with the total 23 or 20, I think it's 23 planned. And we record them all, put them all on the city's YouTube channel so they can be referenced. So that's primarily what we've been doing to start phase 1. The next part of phase 1 that we are now engaging in, and this is part of it, is trying to gain insight from all city, county, and partner commissions and committees and boards about their relationship with the regional plan and how they might perceive the current regional plan successes, failures, and then the opportunities for the next regional plan. And then this summer, the sort of final piece of phase 1 is to start doing some boothing events and get people signed up to receive a newsletter and sort of that initial outreach component. But we certainly have a long way to go. So to develop the next regional plan, there are a lot of different components. I just showed you sort of the overview of what that process looks like, but the ingredients throughout the process and those phases are many and very varied. These are just some of them. We will be looking at organizational planning. We'll certainly be looking at our existing specific and area plans and other policy and plan documents. We'll be doing a lot of data analysis and forecasting, starting to engage with the community about their values and beliefs, and also continuing to partner within and across government, including coming back to subject matter expert commissions and committees and boards such as yourselves. So in terms of the data and modeling that we're doing, we're collecting over 180 data points. So it's a pretty heavy lift on the data front for this effort. And we've already begun to do to collect some of that data across all of the different domains you see here. But we will continue to update that data, collect more data, perform additional analysis and modeling throughout the plan update process as well. So then also very salient for us, or really important for us as we start developing the new plan, are emerging issues. You know, the current regional plan had a lot of information, but there were a lot of pieces that were missing that I think our community finds very important today, such as carbon neutrality, which was pretty absent from the regional plan 2030. And we now have a major plan amendment that came out of the carbon neutrality plan, but I think there's probably some even stronger content that we could have in the next regional plan as well. Equity and inclusion. The existing regional plan was very quiet on this topic, had very little about equity and inclusion. And that's something that we hope to weave throughout the next regional plan in a much more robust way. We, of course, have a housing emergency. At least the City of Flagstaff City Council declared a housing emergency. So considering new housing affordability strategies in the next regional plan and how some of our land use decision making might support or take away from that it will be really important. And then very salient for our entire community and country and world really is public health. And I think the last few years have really given us some insight into what our health system's capacity is and how resilient it is to shocks such as a pandemic. But the current regional plan was also pretty quiet on some other really important topics, such as our food system, where our food comes from, and you know, the access that people have to healthy food, as well as the informational resources about healthy living and food and that sort of thing. So another topic there that we could do better on in the next regional plan. And then finally, we'll be looking at emerging technologies and you know, vehicle automation, the electrification of the transportation system are very hot topics right now and have a lot of implications for our transportation system. And then broadband is an essential utility. So we have a much better, even over the last 10 years, this has really changed, where access to high-speed internet is such a critical component of opportunity in our country right now that we really need to understand and look at broadband and high-speed internet more as a utility than we used to. So that's something we'll engage with as well in the next regional plan. All right, so although we are primarily here today to share information with you, we wanted to end with a few asks. So moving forward into the development of the new plan, we really want to start establishing relationships with boards and commissions and make sure that we are collaborating as much as possible to achieve the best possible plan. We see the library as holding a very unique position in our community. You are open and accessible to
very excited. I was hoping that at the point of this presentation that we would be finished with this. However, there has become a hiccup in the project. As the Park Service was looking at the building as this renovation was going on, there was identified an issue with the foundation. And so we have actually had to pause part of the construction work, and kind of we're working with the Park Service right now to figure out what is the condition of the foundation where there is an issue. What does that look like bringing people